Hey folks, and welcome to Typology, the show in which we explore the mystery of the human personality through the lens of the Enneagram. My name is Anthony Skinner, and we have a hilarious show for you today, and an informative one too. So good. Leanne Deering, a 4 with a 5 wing, and Michelle Fortin, an 8 with a 7 wing, better known as Leanne and Michelle. These two are ridiculously hilarious. They have viral hits such as "Look at What Joanna Made Me Do," "If You're My Friend, Then You'd Buy This," and "The Diet." They're all over YouTube, 40 million views, attention from USA Today, the New York Times, Today, Southern Living. And I'm telling you, they're just so funny and informative, like I said. And they've just recently launched a thing called the Enneagram Funnies, and it's already got like 134 million views, and it's so educational, but they do it in such a really, really smart way. So you got to check that out. Enneagram Funnies on YouTube. They're with us today, Leanne and Michelle. We couldn't be happier to have them with us. We've been trying to hook this up for a little while. So I want to get to this interview ASAP. Without any further ado, here is the host of our show, Ian Cron.
Leanne Deering, Michelle Fortin, welcome to Typology.
Oh my gosh, are we really here?
What is happening?
So excited.
Dude, if Father Richard Rohr is the grandfather of the Enneagram, like you're the cool uncle of the Enneagram.
Yeah, you guys give the best Christmas gifts, and you say stuff like, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do." Yeah.
Oh my
We
gosh.
love you guys. You're our favorite.
We're just like so excited to be here.
Well, we are so excited to have you. We are big fans of your YouTube channel. You have 38 videos up, 40 million views.
Yeah, our videos
What
across
is
all
wrong
platforms.
with you?
Yeah, well, we're kind of a big deal. Yeah, across all platforms, we have 40 million views.
Yes.
We have like almost 50 dedicated just to the Enneagram.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the truth.
Wow.
God, I am so jealous, but I'm a 4.
You're special
Envy.
too. You're unique and very special.
Envy.
We would
Well, thank you very much.
we would love to have you in one of our Enneagram videos at some point. I think
Oh
you know
my
that.
gosh.
Imagine.
I totally would love it.
Okay, so
That
make
has
that
to
happen.
happen.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, let's see how this goes, because I may be in just horribly boring and awful. So let's see how this goes.
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Okay, you've got this really great green screen, and it has like different things in the corners. Tell me about what is it in the corners?
That's us. It's my
Okay,
signature
there
mom
you
bun.
are.
And then over here we have Daring Acting Studio in North Phoenix, where we are coming to you from on these fancy microphones that Leanne's husband has for his podcast.
That's me and my husband's theater. And we
Right.
are coming to you from what we call the podcast suite.
It's very fancy.
Yes.
Green screen,
Anthony.
Nice.
special microphones, etc.
We need a suite.
A suite. That's what we're missing.
Yep.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. But you have very lovely curated shelves behind you, which is impressive, I will say.
Yeah, this is just called my office. Maybe I should just come up with something else for it, like Oficina Especial or something like that,
It sounds
For
very
sure.
legitimate. Yes.
Spanish accents make everything better.
They
Let's
do.
just be honest.
They really do.
Irish accents make everything better.
My husband has a very good Irish accent, and I'm super into it.
Wow.
Like very super into it. They do. No, I'm serious. My husband and his cousin do a 2-man long form improvised play, which long form improv is a trip. Like if you haven't seen it, it is so cool to see a play improvised that actually sounds like a play, Anyway, they do an Irish show called Boondocks, and they put it up every year around St. Patty's Day.
It's pretty funny.
It is dark and funny. So great.
Wow.
Well, I
Is
like
that on
dark and
YouTube?
funny.
What? Say that again.
Is that available on YouTube?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh, it
yeah,
is? Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Deering
We'll have
Studio
to check
YouTube
that out.
channel.
Okay.
Deering Studio YouTube channel.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Well, Michelle, you are an 8 with a 7 wing.
Yes, I am. That's me.
You are, and Leanne, you are a 4 with a 5 wing. Y'all are different.
We are very different.
Yeah,
We are. We complement each other well.
I would say that.
Yes. 8s and 4s, man. They often get along so well because you are both the most probably misunderstood numbers on the Enneagram.
Are we?
Oh, I know I am.
I didn't know that. I would have always, and you know what? This is shame on me. Like, this is me painting a type that is not me, kind of with a broad brush. But I always assumed that an 8 would like bust down the door and make their presence known and like make their wants clear. Is that
We
that's
try.
not accurate?
We do try to do that, but I think people hear the anger in our voice and the loudness and they run away,
Yeah.
especially women.
Is that what happens?
Interesting.
All right.
Sometimes.
Well, so here's a question. Let's say I had only known you for 10 minutes. We're in a line at CVS. Let's place it. In a line at CVS. We talk for 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe I just observe you in line for 5 or 10 minutes. Like, Michelle, how would I know you were an 8 with a 7 just by observing you, not asking you?
Such a good question.
Well, if the line was taking too long for not a very good reason, I would be shifting my weight and huffing and puffing and kind of, moving along. We've got places to be,
like
things
a
to
dragon,
do.
like an actual dragon.
There
like
might be
that?
fire coming from my mouth, actually. But if I was falling more on my 7 wing, I might wave around, turn around and smile and say hi and all that. But yeah, no, for my nonverbals, it would not take you long to figure it out, Ian.
All right. And Michelle, what about you?
Leanne.
Oh, Leanne. Okay.
I mean,
That's okay. No,
Leanne,
no.
What about you?
That's right. We're
You
used
can
to
confuse me for Leanne. That's fine.
I would probably, so if I'm with my children, that's different. If I'm with my kids, I'm in a high anxiety state because there's
No
3
different
of
for
them
me.
and they can run in every direction. So if that's the case, that it's a totally different experience of me. But if I'm by myself, I'm staring off into space, like inventing some story or putting myself in the center of some dramatic scenario or replaying a confrontation that I had with someone earlier that I wish had gone differently. Like I'm just all trapped up here usually.
Up in your imagination, wandering around in a dark neighborhood.
Yes, correct.
Right? Something like that. All right. So I always say about Enneagram 4s when I'm teaching live, I don't know if you can see this, but here's how you know, like if I have 100 or 1,000 people in a room and I'm teaching the Enneagram, I say, here's immediately how you know you're with a 4. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Yep.
Okay. They just stare off into the distance.
Yep.
Out the window as if they're in a drug rehab ad.
The theme song to Dawson's Creek is playing in your head.
This is why when we're traveling, Leanne's not allowed to drive. Okay? I drive, she stares out the window.
You just start looking at those dots, those broken yellow lines, wondering what it all means. Then I've missed my exit, and my 8th friend is going to throttle me.
If you miss the exit, it's not going to be pretty. This is why I drive. Even if it's
you
her
know
car, I
missed
take
it.
the keys.
I swear I missed an exit yesterday.
Did you? Yes.
Yes. I missed an exit yesterday.
Kindred
And you're going to
spirits.
laugh when I tell you why. Because this is the honest to goodness truth. I was kind of feeling sad that Prince died.
Oh.
Seriously.
I just feel so seen and understood.
No,
You
seriously.
died a
Little
long
Red,
time
I was
ago.
Little Red Corvette came up on my playlist, I think, and I'm like, Little Red Corvette. And I'm like,
He's a good voice.
oh, Prince. God, what a loss.
I have cried before
young.
because I will never meet Angela Lansbury. I'll never meet her, and it's so upsetting. Like, I adore her. I don't know what it is about her. I adore her, and I'll never meet her. And I have legitimately cried over that before, like gotten worked up.
Man, you guys.
Odd.
Meanwhile, I got the opportunity to meet Jewel, the singer, just in random. She actually saved my son's life. This is a fun story.
Tell it.
Hey Typology Tribe, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for helping us bring you what I hope is great content every week. Now, you all know I'm a big proponent of counseling. Whether you feel like something is interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving certain goals, counseling is a great tool to help identify what those blocks are and then work through them. Yet finding a therapist can sometimes feel intimidating, but not with BetterHelp. BetterHelp offers online counseling at your own time and your own pace. You can schedule secure video or phone sessions plus text and chat with your therapist when it's convenient for you. These are licensed professional counselors who specialize in things like depression, anxiety, stress, relationships, LGBT matters, trauma, and grief. BetterHelp has counselors available worldwide and have over 3,000 U.S. licensed therapists across all 50 states. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And get this, if you're not satisfied with your counselor for any reason, you can request a new one at any time at no additional cost. Best of all, it's a truly affordable option. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/typologypodcast. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/typologypodcast. TYPOLOGYPODCAST.
Meanwhile, I got the opportunity to meet Jewel, the singer, just in random. She actually saved my son's life. This is a fun story.
Tell it.
We were in Telluride, and we had she has a home there. I was vacationing there, and we had taken our kids to an art class. And afterwards, there's this huge creek that runs behind the art place, and my toddler ran off, and she came around. She said, "I think that was your son that ran towards the creek." And I'm like, "Oh!" So I went and grabbed him, and I came back to thank her. And the news had just hit celebrity media, which is my guilty pleasure, celebrity media.
Yes.
That she was getting divorced, and I proceeded then to give her marriage advice. Completely. You know, just you saved my son's life, and I'm like, "That's great. You should probably work on your marriage because the best thing for your son is for the two of you to stay." I'm an 8.
That's amazing.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to get down to some really important things, obviously Enneagram related, but I just wanted to maybe start by asking you what prescription medications do both of you take? I just wanted to know if that was
cold brew
appropriate.
coffee is the primary one.
Yes. Intravenously.
Drip bags.
Yes. We're moms, so we have to regulate, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. I have a group of 4s that meet on my porch. They're all songwriters or authors, and we get together on my porch, and we drink exotic bourbons, and I don't. I watch, but and smoke expensive cigars because this is all the things a 4 would do, and we literally ask each other questions like, "What prescription meds are you on?"
I love it.
Literally.
That's a good
and
friend.
we share very openly about such things, you know.
Do you
So,
totally
Leanne.
abstain? Because the way you said that made me think that you're totally.
I have to.
Yeah, me too. It's been almost 3 years. I haven't had any alcohol because our feelings are already so here, right? That when I would
Right.
drink, I'm like, oh, it makes the highs higher and the lows lower, and I don't like the way that feels anymore. And my husband, who I'll get into in a little bit, I think he's a 7-8 wing, decided he was done with it, and I'm like, that would probably be a very healthy choice for you as well. I miss it sometimes, but I don't really think about it anymore, which is kind of nice.
That is great.
Yeah.
So you hadn't reached the problem point yet. You just decided this is uncomfortable. I'm just going to stop.
Yeah, there had been seasons in my life where I'm like, oh, you're not using it in a healthy way. So I'd sort of like dabbled with it in unhealthy ways in my 20s. But no, I mean, like as a mom in my early 30s, I just realized it was a healthier decision for me to make. I just didn't moderate it very well. And so the way you said that, I'm like, oh, he's got a similar, he's got the same thing going on.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I had the same issue in my 20s, but there's a lot of it I don't remember.
Yeah, I hear that.
You know, entire years are missing that other people know more about in my life than I do. So anyway, so how did you first learn about the Enneagram, and what inspired you to create these incredibly funny videos? And also, I might add,
they're not like some of the stuff I see on the internet, which is so trivializing, and you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
It bums me out, right? I mean, there's legitimate teaching going on underneath the humor that y'all are doing, which is fantastic.
Thank you. What an
What
honor to
inspired it? I mean, it was a pretty big commitment.
So there's contention over this because I maintain that I introduced the Enneagram to Michelle.
I introduced it to her.
So this is a thing. But I will tell you that this book.
I'm wearing a dress to match the color of your book.
Yes.
I'm such
I was
a
going to
fan.
say you accessorized.
Such a fan.
And the border, it's all there. It's all talking
It's
to each
all
other.
there. It's so good.
So I'm a homeschool mom, and we have a very nerdy book club called Scholé Sisters, which means restful learning. And so we all talk about the books that we're reading sort of at the top before we get into our homeschool stuff. And this book, The Road Back to You, went through our group like wildfire. All of a sudden, I'm hearing these women talking like, well, that's my 8-wing. And I had no idea what they were talking about. I was familiar with Myers-Briggs because I was a psychology major, but I didn't really find that to be a very helpful tool, to be honest with you. So finally, I read the book. Around the same time, Michelle maintains she found the book.
So I sit on the executive board of a company called City Mom Collective, and which is basically a collection of 100 mom websites across the country. And my friend Stephanie Fleece is the owner, and she was talking about this in the executive team and using language like, well, because I'm a 3, I do this. And I think my 4-wing is coming out today. I'm like, what is this language you're talking about? And she said, you have to read the book because you're an 8. And so I was told I was an 8 before I picked up the book, but I only got, of course, through that chapter and realized very quickly that I am an 8. Mm-hmm. And then I thought that I was telling you got to read it, but we discovered it independently at the same time after we were already doing comedy together.
Yeah.
So we already had a friendship and business relationship, and then we discovered the Enneagram, and then
it found us at the right time.
Yeah.
Like it really did. And we tend to just make comedy about whatever we're interested in. So very often that's motherhood, but then we both just became so
obsessed,
fascinated.
We have actually, you guys, we have been on our local media here in Phoenix, and we started telling the news anchors during a live interview about the Enneagram. And it wasn't while we were invited on.
Nope.
We just started talking about it, and we had to stop ourselves and be like, we're like missionaries right now.
We're
Enneagram
proselytizing.
Evangelists, and you cannot shut us up.
Yeah.
But you need to read the book. It was really embarrassing. Yeah. But anyway, so how we started on doing the videos. So we followed Enneagram and Coffee, which is a huge Enneagram account on Instagram. And we reached out to Sarah Jane Case and said, hey, you don't have any videos on your feed. Could we maybe do some funny Enneagram videos and you could share them? So that's kind of how, and she said, absolutely. So that's kind of how it got started, is we started doing them, and then they just kind of started taking off, and people loved them, and we were having so much fun doing them. Fast forward to recent months, we were able to film them ourselves independently when we couldn't physically be together.
Yeah.
And then edit them, and it just kind of became something that we could do quickly and turn around, and people just really seemed to like them. So we kept doing it, and we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, we are.
Until we run out of topics, which will be never.
I think you explained that beautifully.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That. I practiced.
Okay, so Michelle, what do you love most about being an 8 with a 7-wing, and what drives you crazy about it?
Oh, okay. What I love the most about being an 8-7-wing is that I get stuff done. There's no task that is impossible. I see a no or a bar set as a challenge, and I usually always, I can't even think of an exception. I always get stuff done, and that drive and ambition and just motivation is great for the 8. I love my 7-wing has really, the comedy brings that out, and I love relying on my 7-wing for the comedy, and it just makes me happy. It kind of takes the angst out of that side of my personality, and the 7-wing just makes me really happy. What I don't like about the 8 is a couple things. Is, I only see the world in black and white. It's almost impossible for me to see the gray. And I married a man who is a 9, and he helps me see the gray. So I will often just call him up and say, Jason, I don't see the gray here. Help me out. But it's really hard for me to just see that on my own. And then the other thing would be my emotions. Like, you guys are talking about how often you cry. Like, for me, like, things just aren't that sad. Like, let's get over it and move on. But being friends, such close friends with the 4 has really taught me to sit in that a little longer and become more comfortable with that. So that's a work in progress for me. But those are probably the 2 things I don't like about being an 8.
Okay, so my mom is an 8.
Yes.
Everyone on the show, whoever, regular listeners know that my mom and my daughter are both 8s. And I called my mom. I don't know if I've told this story yet, Anthony. I called my mom, maybe back in March when the coronavirus came out. And she's 92. And I said, "Hey, Mom, have you been attacked by the coronavirus yet?" And I could hear on the other end of the line, she's smoking a Pall Mall. And she goes, "It wouldn't dare."
That is not an exaggeration.
That is not an exaggeration. Yeah. She's an 8 with a 7, and she wouldn't dare. She is
great.
astonishing.
Hey friends, I want to take a minute to thank our sponsor, HelloFresh. As America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh delivers easy, seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients right to your door. And I have to say, the meals are delicious. Annie and I have been able to break out of our dinner rut with HelloFresh's variety of weekly options, including easy lunches and add-ons. There's really something for everyone. Anthony, you use HelloFresh too, right?
Absolutely, Ian. You know it. We started using HelloFresh to cut out some of the stress of meal prep and planning. Now we get dinner on the table in just 30 minutes. It saves us so much time that used to be spent going to the grocery store, since they conveniently deliver right to our doorstep for easy cooking with the family. Mary Keith just texted me yesterday and said, "Anthony, we got a brand new big box of HelloFresh on the doorstep."
What I really like is how flexible HelloFresh is too.
Oh yeah.
It's easy to go online and change my delivery days, food preferences, and even skip a week whenever I need to.
That's right, Ian. HelloFresh is also committed to giving back. They donated over 2.5 million meals to charity in 2019, and this year they're stepping up food donations to local communities amid the COVID crisis. And HelloFresh is giving our Typology listeners a special offer. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Typology90 and use the code Typology90, that's TYPOLOGY90, to get $90 off, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Typology90 and use the code Typology90 for $90 off and free shipping. Take it from Ian and me. You are going to love your HelloFresh meal. That's HelloFresh.com/Typology90.
All right, Leanne.
Same question about 4 or 5 wing.
Same question. What do you love about being a 4 with a 5 wing? Which is
What?
well,
the crazy abyss, the drop off,
Yeah,
the edge of
crazy
despair.
Yeah, the one where you're like leaning over, looking into Nietzsche. I mean, it's not it's a big, possibly dark place. But then again, man, the best humor in the world is born out of some of those places.
Yes.
Have you ever heard Art Buchwald's great quote? He says, "If you want to be a great comedian, have a shitty childhood."
Oh no, but I did not. I had actually a very nice childhood, but it doesn't take childhood trauma. We come up with our own trauma, don't we? I feel like
we do create it.
I had an amazing acting teacher in Los Angeles named Larry Moss. He's just a phenomenally gifted scene study teacher, and he liked to tell our class, if you survived through your teenage years, you are equipped with everything you need to play any role you will ever encounter. You've experienced every strain of anger, shame, and you can manipulate all of that to help you in any script. So I really do believe we come up with it on our own. But my favorite thing about being a 4, honestly, knowing that I was a 4 was one of the bigger gifts of my life, because I feel like I have been freed up to be friends with myself in a new way in my 30s. I completely lost friendship with myself in my 20s. And so I've learned to see that learning that there's nothing deficient, nothing unique, and sort of just slowly, I'm so glad you called it a road in your book title, like slowly dethroning myself from the center of every narrative and every story ever been told has been so freeing. And now I feel like I'm free to enjoy some of the quirky, beautiful things that come along with it and steer into the skid sometimes. Like as a homeschool teacher, I love that I'm always exposing my kids to artists and musicians, and like there will be no lack of that in their life and in their education. And that's a gift. That's a very significant thing to have someone reading out loud to you at a young age. So all of that I think is beautiful. The hard thing, and this won't come as a surprise, is I feel like I just get stuck here. That's still the battle. I've made choices in my life that de-amplify some of this now, and that really helps. You were teasing me, Ian, about my like all white bedroom.
When was he in your bedroom?
Yeah.
No, yesterday during the pre-call.
I just want to clarify for everybody listening, he was not actually in her bedroom.
Thank you. That's a good thing to clarify, actually.
Thank you.
It's just like white and minimal. They could have
It was
gone
like
sideways.
I flew back late last night from Phoenix. Whoa, what a day!
Thank you for saying that.
You're
Michelle.
welcome.
Now I'm blushing. Can you see
Yeah,
it?
you see it.
I'm blushing a little bit. Everything in my house is really minimal, and like I just try to set myself up with good patterns to keep this here. You know, we just try to like keep it on a more manageable wavelength. But yes, I still find I get stuck up here sometimes. I'm still prone to that inactivity, that withdrawing. That's a thing I don't care for.
She does do that.
I was in a lunch yesterday with my sponsor from this 12-step group that I've been in for decades now.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his pieces of advice, and he's an artist as well, right? But he's got more years than I do. And super smart guy. And he said, Ian, just try to stick in the middle of the boat.
Yes.
Just try to stay in the middle of the canoe. If you go too far forward, the back goes, you're going to, because he's seen me tip,
Yep.
and it's not a good thing when I tip, And I thought, man, I'm going to remember that. Try to stay in the middle of the boat. Because in my 20s, I was this, really like this. And sometimes just like that for long periods of time. Or, I've had to learn over the years that, and maybe this is the sort of the physical sign of growth, is that, you get to be my age and now it's a little bit more like this instead of, craziness.
Right.
It's just like, day to day learning that, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm having a crappy day. But at 1 o'clock this afternoon, I may get a call and be having a fantastic day. Yeah. So who knows what's coming next, But it's interesting, as a 4 with a 5 wing, you said, I get stuck up here.
Yeah.
Right. And most 4s would go, I get stuck down here. Right?
Interesting.
In the heart. But you went up here, which makes me think, okay, were you talking about your imagination, or were you talking about your sort of discursive analytical thought processes, like a 5 would?
Honestly,
were you talking about imagination or an analytical thinking?
That's a good question. I think it's probably more imagination, replaying things that went poorly, like just getting stuck in I guess head and heart for me are interchangeable a little bit in that way. Because like once I'm up here, it's fantasy land,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we tell them the story about how we discovered you have a 5 wing?
Sure, if you want to.
And I mean it was a dual effort. So Leanne claimed initially to not have a wing. She was the strongest 4 you'd ever met.
4 with a 4 wing.
4 with a 4 wing, exactly. And I didn't disagree. But we had a trip to California for a show, and we actually took our kids into Disneyland. It was really fun. Well, of course, I drove her minivan because that's what I do. And we're driving back, so it's about 6-hour drive?
Something like that.
And I mentioned at the beginning of the drive, this was 2 years ago, maybe,
that
I had never
pregnant.
I had never heard a note of the musical Hamilton. And she gasped for air, and then she proceeded to play the entire 3-hour musical soundtrack for me, pausing at every song to set the scene, tell me the historical context, talk about the different relationship development.
1776. New York City. Pardon me. Are you Aaron Burr, sir? That depends. Who's asking? Oh, sure, sir.
See, here
I'm
we go.
Alexander
So-
Hamilton. I'm at your service, sir. I have been looking
I'm so
for
sorry.
you.
I'm so sorry, guys. I tapped it for 1 second and she could not hold it back.
It's my heart. I love that show.
So we pulled back into Phoenix and I looked at her and I said, well, now we know your wing. It's 5.
So dorky. Yes. Yes.
Hey everybody, one of the lessons I've learned over the years is that not everybody benefits from a traditional 50-minute counseling session. And this is why some people can go to couples therapy or personal counseling for a long time and never really get anywhere. This is why I'm such a believer of intensive counseling and my friends at Restoring the Soul in Colorado, created by my longtime friend Michael Cusick to help couples or individuals experience deep change in half-day blocks over 1 or 2 weeks. Now listen, if you can't wait months or years to get to the bottom of an issue or to experience breakthrough, you need to get in touch with my friend Michael and his extraordinary team of counselors at Restoring the Soul. If you're looking to get out of the rut you're in, but can't wait months or years, call Restoring the Soul today for a free consultation with Michael's staff. Call 303-932-9777 and learn how their intensive counseling process can help you. As a special bonus, just for Typology listeners, make sure to visit www.restoringthesoul.com/typology to download their PDF called 5 Ways Unaddressed Trauma May Be Derailing Your Relationships.
So I'm a 4 with a. I used to be a 4 with a very heavy 3-wing, and as I've gotten older, my wing has kind of migrated over to 5, which is not an unusual thing. And one of the things I've loved about the Enneagram is that you can actually consciously choose which wing you need to be in at the moment. Like most people think, okay, this is just a static deal. I'm a 5, I'm a 4 with a 5, period. It's like, no, in fact, right now, I'm being more 4 with 3 with you. I mean, I just know I got to turn my 3 on when I do typology.
Sure.
Right? When I'm writing a book or I'm doing something else, I literally consciously go, okay, 5, don't fail me now. It's like I got to go into a different zone. And I do think that, we don't have to, we might do that unconsciously, but it's actually really helpful to know I do have an option here to move into my other wing space and draw energy and resources from it.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, have you guys ever thought of that, or have you always just sort of thought of that as just sort of a static signifier? I'm a 4 with a 5, period.
Oh, I think I agree with you, and I'm not ever going to disagree with you on the Enneagram, just for the record. Just for the record.
Cool Uncle Ian's always right.
Always right. But I do, my nap game can be strong. So I do definitely love my 9-wing.
You do love naps. You do. You love naps so much. You're right. I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Yes.
So yeah, I love to lean on my 9-wing when I need a nap.
And your 7-wing
for
is so
you.
loud through your improv and
Yeah.
your creative endeavors and all of that. Yeah. I think I've leaned on my 3. I leaned on my 3-wing in my 20s when I was first starting out as an actress and I was auditioning for the first time. I was in the room with big clients, and I think I probably did rely on it in my 20s, and I've shifted in my 30s. But you force me back into my, force is an aggressive word, I'm sorry. You guide me back into my 3-wing power when you force me to have deadlines and things like that. I'm sorry, you're not forcing me. When you encourage me to a deadline or things like that, because that's not natural to me.
However, we have learned over time to play off of each other's strengths. So she probably has to rely less on her 3-wing because she has an 8 business partner.
That's true.
Who can get stuff done. I don't mind, doing a lot of the more mundane things or just getting stuff done, setting deadlines for us, keeping our calendar, that kind of stuff, because I know you can't or you won't.
Shan't.
Could. And also because control. If I can be in control, I'm in my happy place.
Okay, so for both of you, question, how has the Enneagram, outside of what you've done on YouTube, which is amazing, bringing humor to what could be a system, a personality typing system that takes itself too seriously? Like, I've met some people who are into the Enneagram and they're like kind of bummers. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, it gets into this space where it's like they're so earnest and serious about it. And I'm like, there's kind of a funny side to this deal, right? I mean, it's these low resolution pictures of people's interior worlds. Let's face it, there are some parts of it in the extreme that are very, very funny. And if you can't laugh at yourself, there's some pathology involved, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
For sure.
so like, here's the deal. How has it changed your life and transformed you?
Okay, so as a 4, we know one of the things that we're guilty of a lot, gentlemen, back me up on this, is we're comfortable playing victim, right? Like a lot of times I'll interpret things people say or do, expectations, as aggression. And all of a sudden I'm weaving this exciting narrative where I'm being picked on and they just don't understand me. And really getting to read about the other types and helping to get behind their eyes has been so useful in taking me out of that role. Because it's just not a helpful role for life. It doesn't get anything done. It doesn't accomplish anything. There may even be circumstances where you are the victim. And guess what? It's not too helpful to stay there for very long. It's okay to acknowledge it. Let's acknowledge the pain. But then a healthy 4, an integrated 4, is going to also learn to, let's move toward our 1. Let's do the next right thing here. So I would say that, like, it has helped to launch me out of the victim space by understanding, like, everyone's just got these motives. They're trying to attain love and integration and respect and all the same things that I want. They're just going about it a different way. And having an 8 that I am so close to now, you have freed me up to see conflict not as this terrifying thing anymore. It's a very safe place. And for Michelle, it's actually a place of intimacy. Like, if I give her a pat answer, that's like, psh, psh, like, it's like I might as well slap her. And it could be anything from, like, do you like this dress or do you like this bit of writing? If I say, like, yeah, I can see in her eyes, like, tell me the real, full, honest truth. She wants to know. She wants to hear all of it.
I do. I want all the information.
So yeah, that's my long-winded answer.
So I, at the risk of sounding like a dramatic 4, I do need to tell you the Enneagram has completely changed my life. Understanding it has just opened my eyes to obviously learning about myself. I do carry a lot of guilt, actually, after discovering the Enneagram, for how I was an unhealthy 8. Particularly in my 20s, I was a journalist and I just was a little probably too aggressive in certain situation. And so I do carry some guilt about that, but the level of understanding I have for myself and why I am the way I am and the decisions that I make and how I approach relationships is just so eye-opening. It's changed my marriage. It's helped me understand my 9 husband, who I used to think couldn't make a decision to save his life. But now I realize I make decisions like that and he just needs a little time. And that has been life-changing for my marriage. And also my friendship with Leanne and our business partnership, we kind of hit a rough patch right before we discovered the Enneagram. And she was going into her hidey hole and I was chasing after her, which she didn't want. And it got, but then once we started realizing kind of our strengths at the Enneagram and our numbers and understanding that, it really just helped us kind of settle down, I think, and come to a mutual understanding. And then I don't really want to be friends with anyone else unless I know their number, because it helps me understand them better. And we have a little, I feel, advantage over other people because we play these roles. So we have our numbers that we play on the internet, and we get to really study those numbers and kind of pretend to be those numbers. So I feel like we even have a better understanding of people where they're at because of that.
Yeah. You know, that has such an unusual, I've never really thought of this, but a great exercise, and I'm going to write this down somewhere, a great exercise on a retreat weekend that I lead or a workshop is to challenge people over the course of 9 days to try and be all 9 types. Like, in other words, okay, today I'm going to try to live in the shoes of a 2 or a 7 and just see how it goes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like the other 8 types.
That's good.
You actually have had the experience of having to research and get into other people's shoes in a way that other people just observe other types. But to say, today, I'm actually going to try to be that type and experience the world the way that they do, that would be really powerful.
Michelle and I will come to your retreat and we'll do a little improv seminar and everyone can do open scene work as the different types.
Yes, we actually,
I love it.
We want to do an improv live show where we are in a scene together improvising, and then a director tells us, okay, go to 7. And then we automatically have to switch our character to the next Enneagram number and go back and forth. With that.
We're workshopping it. Like,
Can
how long
I
it would
be? No. I want to be the director.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Put me on a plane. I'm coming.
All right, I hope you've enjoyed part 1 of our 2-part series with Leanne and Michelle. Make sure you join us for part 2 next week. That's it from us here at Typology. This is Anthony Skinner signing off. Have a fantastic week, folks.